Selina. Hold on, let's make sure we can get this. Is it recorded? Right, great, thank you. Right, so I'm just going to read a little bit about you, Selina. Now listen guys, you know I'm dyslexic and I hate all this reading stuff. And I always ask people, just give me 200 words. And they always want to give me an essay, right? So here goes. Selina Morgan-Gayle, accredited civil and commercial mediator. She is the CEO and founder of Mediator and SMG Mediation based in London. What's all this? She's going to have to explain all this to me. All right. Okay, she's a member of Lincoln's Inn Court, the Civil Mediation Council, the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, and Alternative Dispute Resolution, Online Dispute Resolution International, and all that stuff there, right? In 2012, Selina volunteered her skills, right, at the BPP legal advice. Now listen, that's all gobbledygook to us, right? We need to know what all these letters mean, all right? Okay, but she provided legal skills and knowledge over the phone to people who didn't have access or could not afford legal assistance. She is a mentor for the Aspire Foundation, a non-profit organisation that inspires and empowers girls and women to succeed in their lives. We don't know what age group they are, but she will tell us. All right, that currently positively impacts 17.5 million women, girls and women around the globe. That is absolutely fantastic. Selina, welcome to Colourful Radio.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Right, so first of all, right, tell us what. So you said that you're part of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, CLARB, Alternative Resolution, right, Online Resolution, ADR, ODR. What is all that, please? I'm not a girlfriend.
Well, basically, it's an institute, it's a panel for mediators. So the CMC is for Civil Mediation Council, and it's mediators that have a civil and commercial background, or that's actually trained to be a mediator in those areas. So it's almost as if it doesn't mean that you're completely, legit in that sense, but when you're part of a body, it makes you feel as if it enhances that.
Yeah.
So, and it just makes you feel part of a community, so that you can go and speak to other mediators that are civil and commercial background.
Right. So first of all, tell us, how did you get into this mediation?
Wow! Oh my God!
The thing is, right, when you think about mediation, you think about people who are at loggerheads fighting constantly, and the first thing that comes into my mind is that, I used to work in housing, right, and sometimes we used to have to contact external mediators, right, because there's some neighbours who just couldn't get on with each other. So it's almost like, you're dealing with problems all the time.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
I'm like the problem solver.
Yeah.
I got into it, I have a legal background, and I studied to do law in Middlesex University, then I went on to do it at BPP, which is a law school. And then, funny enough, there was an institution that simply said, look, mediation is going to be the new thing, and come and do it. We'd obviously spent our big monies, we won't say how much that was, but it was. And then they said they were going to give us a discount and actually teach us mediation. Now, at that time, Sonia, I didn't know what it was. I was like, okay, let's just add this to the CV, as you do.
Yeah.
So I added it to the CV, and then I actually got into it and really understood that, this is really good. I actually see the future.
Yeah.
It made me see it even more when I got made redundant in 2012, and I just got to the point, at this point, Sonia, I only had 4 jobs.
Yeah.
But I
only had 4 jobs? What do you mean?
In my life.
I thought you meant you had 4 jobs all going.
No, I literally only had, and it was my 4th job, and I got made redundant, and I was actually quite happy about it because I wanted to move from there and do something else.
So what was you doing at the time?
I was actually a human resource manager and a business development manager for a security firm. But I knew that, and my boss knew that it wasn't going to be my life because he knew I was studying law, which is called the BPTC, studying to be a barrister. And so when I got made redundant, I said, I don't want to go and find something else. I don't just want to work for what I need to feel I'm a part of something, I'm making a difference. So I really looked into this mediation. I said, you know what, this is it. I'm going to start a business. Had no experience previously. I've only had one family member that's running a business at the time, and hers was completely different. That was my sister. But I was just like, I've got to do this. I go by gut. The gut was like, this is what you've got to do. This is you. You've got this. You don't really know what's going on with this field. You don't really understand it, but from what you do know, and I just knew very little, I thought, this is it. I had my son the year before, and I was like, I want to be a mum. I want to be a hands-on mum. My mum was a hands-on mum.
Yeah.
She worked 3 jobs, but I never felt she wasn't there. And I thought, I have to give, and I want to give the same to my son.
Yeah.
So I just, opened the business in 2014 and was like, let's go with this mediation, get a head start now. You don't know what you're doing.
So what's the first, when you decided that this is it, this is my life, this is what I'm going to do, right? So what was the first thing that you actually did?
I actually approached the job centre because I wanted to know if they could assist in me starting up a business. Funny enough, they could.
Yes.
So they directed me to the right people and said, look, this is what you want to do, this is who you can talk to. So I went to a place called Wenta, shout out to Wenta because they've been amazing.
Yeah.
And they helped me.
Did you ask me if you could shout out to them?
Sorry about that, Sonia. Sonia, is it okay to shout out?
It's free advertising.
Okay.
I'm joking.
But yes, so I went to them and they assisted me in setting up the business. And then from then I just kind of thought, get a logo, get a website, as you do, and then start promoting yourself. Networked my life, silly, literally.
That's good though.
Because no one knew who I was and no one knew what mediation, who?
Yeah.
Sorry? Oh, you meditate? No. Meditate. No, it's very close, I know. So I even get that even now. And then, the rest is pretty much history from that. So being made redundant, needed to be a hands-on mum, and just understanding that I can help people more and be in control of my life. The flexible hours, I don't work every day. A lot of people think, you make this, but that's not every day. So I can do things like this and go and pick up my son from school, and while still having my passion being fulfilled, because ultimately I wanted to be a barrister. That was it. It was like, so this was a bit of a redirection, but it's the best redirection I've had in my entire life.
I'm glad that you're passionate
I love it.
I'm glad that you're somebody has
feel it in the room.
That's the gut thing that you understand.
I'm telling you.
People don't understand that. Doesn't matter, as long as you've got that passion, that desire, it will drive you. It will drive you to wherever. You just said that you networked yourself stupid.
Literally,
all right. Yeah. But a lot of people don't realise that that's what they have to do in order to get themselves out there, their business out there, to get more business to come in. You've got to. It's almost like without. Not selling yourself short, it's not prostitution, but it's kind of like,
you've got to be your best marketer. If you don't believe in you, and if you don't, understand and say, right, you could hire people, that's fine. But ultimately, you are marketing it, you are the face. And for me, I am the face. So, when they see me, if you don't like me, don't know the way I look, then that's fine. I purposely made sure my face is everywhere. There's no confusion to what kind of person you're getting, you can see me, because behind closed doors, it's a case some people phone and then it's like, what do they look like and how much do they think? Everything's on there. Put it out there. Then if you don't like it, you don't want it, then that's fine too.
So you championed yourself and you decided this is my life and I'm going to put my whole heart and soul into it, right? How long after that did you get your first job, and what is it that you specialise in?
I mainly specialise in civil and commercial. That's what my mediation background is on. However, I do like employment. I've always liked that from law school, so I love doing those areas. So I would more say civil and employment disputes.
So just for our listeners, sorry, can you explain to them what a civil
I'm so sorry, yes, because you want to correct me in this jargon, it just comes out. Civil is a dispute like landlord and tenant. If you're a landlord and you're trying to get your tenant out and they're not listening and you need some assistance in doing that, but before you want to go to court, let's have a sit down. That's what basically mediation is. Let's sit down together and see if we can discuss this, sort this out, so you don't end up having to go to court, spend more money, spend more time, and be more stressed out. You've got areas as...
So hold on, so you touched on the housing, right? Which is good, because a lot of people have disputes like that, right? So do you actually go into housing associations or local authorities?
Yes, I can work alongside of them, so they've also got their landlords and tenants, I can work alongside them, or it could be a case of where it's a private landlord contacting me and say, look, there's an issue here, they're not paying up, or there's a problem with the house. Regarding that, I can help them with, I can assist them in those areas. So anything where it's a dispute, where it can be resolved in court, it basically comes
do you get nominated? Do you get referrals through local authorities or something?
And solicitors, or just by word of mouth. Right, I've had loads of people from being on social media where they said, I've got an aunt, a cousin, whatever. But everything I do is confidential. So even if it's a case, if it's in my close knit, you won't know their information, because I don't do that. I mean, I'm that person anyway, let alone the field I'm in. So the referrals come from all round. It's me putting out my information and being on social media, and then simply saying, I saw your post, or I saw this, and then I get a call. That's what actually happens. I'm not really assigned per se to a specific solicitors firm, but they can make sure that I can be assigned to them and we do a retainer, which is basically them paying me a fee to help their legal disputes. But any areas that can be taken to court, I think that's the easiest thing. I know it sounds so broad. Any area where you think that's a legal dispute, might need a solicitor, might need to go to court, that's what I do. I help you talk and go through it, where you resolve it without having to go to court. So you're settling your own, and it's private. That's the best thing.
So I heard recently that before you can go apply to a court nowadays, you have to have had mediation. Is that real?
No, they didn't pass that law in England. The law has been passed in Ireland, where barristers and solicitors are mandatory to assist and explain to their clients that you can do mediation. If they don't, then they can be disbarred. Because they have to sign a statutory declaration. It's kind of like an official signature to simply say, have you told your client that you can try mediation? Because if you don't, then you haven't done your job as solicitor, as barrister. That's in Ireland at the moment. That got passed beginning of this year. It probably will be something that will be passed over here soon. But even that, it's not.
I thought maybe like the bigger organisations that's
no, we're moving to that direction. At the moment, no, it's not a case where it's confirmed that you have to take mediation. In family law, it's heavily advised. Most of it comes across as mandatory, but it's more kind of suggested, heavily suggested, heavily advised. It's not a case where by law you have to do mediation. It's just heavily advised. The only thing the courts do, if you don't try mediation, is they say, well, if you haven't tried it, then don't ask me for them to pay your fees, because you didn't try to resolve it outside of court. So then that's where I think the feel of it feeling like it's mandatory, but in the eyes of the law, it's not mandatory in that sense. It's just heavily suggested.
Okay, heavily suggested. Let's take this short music break. We'll be back after this track. Keep it locked into Colourful Radio. So this is your toilet break, listeners. What I'm talking about. And I'm back in the hot seat. And I am talking to Selina Morgan-Gayle. She is a qualified mediator, accredited civil and commercial mediator. That's what she is. Right, and just before the music break, we were talking about the kind of mediation that she specialises in. But before we get back to that, I just want you to let you know, because this is quite important, right, especially for the black community, right? And one of the things that we like to do is to promote people, hence the reason why she's here, especially people from, the culture society. So Selina actually won an award, right? Do you want to tell them what the award is, Selina?
I'm currently...
Hold on a minute.
Is the voice changed?
A little while ago, right, my girl was shouting, right? You need to pick up yourself. Come on.
Well, I am Mediation Champion of the Year.
And how did that come about?
Well, I got nominated, this was in the summer, and I didn't even know about how to even be nominated. I didn't really know much about the awards because I'm only 4 years in, so I'm still getting to understand that. And then I literally just went crazy, and everyone was just like, right, let's just nominate, let's just throw it all in like a few days before. And then I decided before the nomination, before I found out I was nominated, that I'm going to go this year. This is the only award ceremony for mediators, let me go. And then obviously I had more reason to go. And then I turned up pretty much 4 minutes before they announced me being the winner. Wow. Didn't know, I thought they were just giving my bio. I thought, oh, that's me, that's nice. No, I literally was sitting there.
So who nominated you then?
To this day, I don't know who the first person was, but other than that, it was a group of people that literally nominated me. And then a night before, I was like, right, everyone throw in your nominations. It could strengthen it. I mean, I didn't know how the process really worked, but obviously something stuck. So then I was running a bit late, as you do, as you like. Wasn't my fault though, but it happened. And I sat down and they were reading my bio, but because I didn't know how it went, because it's the first time I'd been to the award ceremony, which is why I wanted to go, I just thought they were reading out everyone that had been in that category. So I was sitting there going, oh, that's nice. Oh, they wrote that. Oh, lovely. Not realising that the reason why they read it out is because you're the winner. And then they announced me, Selina Morgan-Gayle, and I was like, me? That's me? That's me. So I didn't have long to prepare because I literally sat down, listened, got up, and I just kind of baffled through it and said a speech. But then it went round to say literally my whole life, and then it was like that was the most passionate speech of the night.
Are you serious?
I said, this is unrehearsed. I walked in 4 minutes ago. I didn't even know that I was a winner. I thought you were just reading it out, and but it just, look, God is great.
Yeah.
So that's how that came about, but yeah. So
upwards and onwards. Alright, so let's get back to business, shall we? Alright, so I want to get, so you said that you do mediation for like housing, for in the housing community, right? So I want to give you this little scenario, right, and then tell us how you deal with it. So let's go from because a lot nowadays there's so many tenants who are in private rented accommodation.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
So alright, so I'm the tenant.
Right.
And so-and-so is the landlord.
Yeah.
And I decide that I want to move out.
Right.
Okay. I want to move out, and I want you to serve me a notice to quit. Right. Can I do that? Can I? How do I serve my landlord a notice? Oh no. Say I've told my landlord that I want to move, right? And he doesn't want me to move. That's it. He doesn't want me to move. Okay. So he's not going to serve me the notice to quit. How would mediation come in?
I think the better scenario is you've got a private landlord, and you've left the property now, but he hasn't given your deposit scheme, like tenancy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Now, although there's a separate organisation to deal with that, if, for example, it doesn't go well, this is when you can bring in a mediator and say, right, how are we going to sort this out? This way, it's a decision made between those parties. Whatever happens is up to them. They decide. So if he says, well, you know, your deposit scheme is in there, but we don't agree with this, and we think you left the house untenable, would be the word they would use, then you don't get this much. Instead of them going to court to fight to get that deposit, say, well, you put it in deposit scheme, why did I not get it back? I don't agree with what you said, and I don't agree with the independent party.
Oh, well, going by what you've just said,
I would step in.
But what about wear and tear, especially if somebody's been in property for 5, 6, 7 years?
But then that, for me, I won't be the person deciding whether it's a wear and tear. I'm deciding what is going to resolve this dispute, so you don't end up going to court with you fighting to say he or she's not giving my deposit back, and the landlord not simply saying I've got to send you to court because you don't deserve either the deposit or that much of the deposit. That's what I would come in and help them resolve that, so then they don't have to pay more fees, waste more time, have extra stress. I would come in and do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you talked about employment.
Yes.
All right. So give us an example.
So if you're having an issue with another employee and you have to work with them because obviously you've been assigned a role or a job and you have to work together, you may have mediation. So instead of having a grievance or a disciplinary, you may have a mediation to settle how you can work better in that environment because you both have to be there. Rightly so, if you've been in the sense of unfair dismissed, instead of you going to a tribunal, you would have a mediation to say, right, how do we get this so that I'm not dismissed, or if I am dismissed, you know, how can you pay me in a way in which obviously serves me right to be either in the company to come back, or to have the amount of money that's deserving now I'm not working at that company. So it's not me deciding what happens, it's getting the people in the room and simply saying, what is it you want, party A, what is it you want, party B, but what also needs to happen in order for this not to drag out, in order for you not to be stressed out, in order for you not to feel like you're losing or lost money. That's what it is. So whatever that resolution, I mean, I can sit there and go, if you just do that and you just do that, you'll be fine. But if that's not what they want, that's not what I'm here to do. So I'm not on one side, I'm not on the other side. I'm here to say, if that's what you feel is going to get this as not, you're not really compromising, but you're understanding the other side and understanding that in order for me to go for this, I might have 10 lists of things that I want, but I might have to drop it to 8. Because what's the point of me getting 10 and all I'm doing is going to court to fight for 10 and I may leave there with 2? So it's stopping you from being in a situation of being more stressed out, losing more money, and feeling like, you know what, I've resolved this. Not no judge telling me how I should resolve this dispute, not no judge telling me how this should go down. I'm going to be able to do that. And then, rightly so, most of the time, I feel, when in mediation I've done, they both feel so much better. I mean, I've had parties where they've been arguing for 2 years. Seriously? 2 straight years.
Is this tenants?
This was actually a contract, so I do contracts as well, so there was in some sense a breach of a contract, and they've been arguing so much, it even caused one of the parties to just be physically just shaken. It was suffering from anxiety from it. And it got to the point where I assisted them. I'm quite strong in my assistance. I go by what's going on in the room and how the characters are, and it was resolved. I don't take full ownership for a mediation the same way I don't take ownership if it didn't work out. I haven't had a mediation that, in some sense, in inverted commas, failed, but my contribution helps because I am invested, I care, I don't see my parties as just, and when I say parties, I mean the individuals or business involved, because that's a bit of a jargon word. But I'm invested because I care for the matter. When it comes to the court system, you're a little bit of a conveyor belt.
Okay.
You know, let's just put them through. Okay, we've got the next one. Can I have the next case, please?
So this definitely isn't just a job to you. This is
no,
your passion.
this is unpersonable. I care.
So do you want to see world peace?
I just want to. I want to see everyone. What I want is everyone to resolve their dispute without going to court. Ever. And I feel like it can be done. And if you've got the right mediator, you feel confident in them. You feel comfortable. They feel comfortable in themselves. And you're going with an open mind, which is very difficult in society that we live in, to be open-minded. Just. You can get through it, you really can, and I just feel like you don't have to go to court in order to get your money or be heard. You can have your day in court.
So let's talk about fees without giving away too much. People think, right, okay, when I go to court, I've got to pay court fee, and now they want me to have mediation, because a lot of companies these days are requesting that people have mediation first before they go to court. Right. Okay. So that's kind of like an added cost to people.
Right, let me stop you there. It would be actually less of a cost. Because if you have mediation, and if, for example, the mediation goes really well, then what cost are you adding? You don't need to go to court. You've stopped that, you've said, Judge, guess what? I don't need you right now. We've sorted it out without you. The judge is going to go, well done, yay! Why? Because the judges don't actually want you to be there. They want you to resolve it outside. They don't want to get involved. Honestly,
but every case that goes to court, they get paid for it.
They do get paid for it, but the backlog. I mean, some of these cases you're looking at 2-3 years just to be seen, just to be heard. And the higher your claim is, the longer you're going to have to wait. By then, you even lose the sight of.
Sorry, can I just take you back a bit? When you say the higher your claim is,
meaning the amount. So if, for example, it's over 25,000 more, you might be waiting 2 years just to be seen by one judge. Right. And then you might have to come back again because something was missing, or documents, or what have you. So you're fighting a case for 3 years, and all that anger is mainly to do with the fact that you're waiting. You're so frustrated. Right. You actually lose sight of, why am I going to court? Why do I not like this person? Or why do they owe me something? So if you actually have mediation first, you're in a position to simply say, I've tried it and it worked. No need to go to court. If you're not going to court, you're not paying any more fees. You're not paying for documents. You're not paying for solicitors. And then if it doesn't, in a sense of where it doesn't resolve all of the issues, you might have walked into court with 5. You have mediation, you've only now got 2. It's better only fighting 2 claims or issues than actually going to court fighting 5, which is going to take you longer. So there isn't, in my eyes, mediation failing. Because if you've come out with less issues, you've still won. And if you've eradicated all the issues, then you're great. So you've actually, paid less, and it's within 1 day.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't like that's what we like to hear here.
Yes.
Okay, so if there's anybody out there who feels like, they've got... Actually, hold on. You do civil and... What's the other one you said?
Civil, commercial.
Commercial.
Yeah. I do workplace and employment as well, but mainly civil and commercial and employment.
And do you do relationships?
I do a little bit of family. I'm not a family accredited mediator, but I do have a lovely mediator alongside me that I can throw on or refer to the work in regards to that. But I can do some areas of family, but mainly I pass it on to my other mediator.
Other experts.
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's anybody out there who has a situation, who's thinking about getting a mediator, just tell us a little bit how they can get in contact with me. I know you're on the social medias.
Yes. Well, my website is www.smgmediation.co.uk. Everything's on there. You can book appointments. At the moment, I'm in one of the very, I have to stress it, very, free mediators that actually do free consultations. So I do 30 minutes of free consultation. You tell me your life, tell me what's going on, your legal dispute, and I can tell you whether I can assist you. Most mediators will charge for that, and that's what makes me very different to a lot of mediators.
30 minutes is a long time.
It is.
After that, you will just solve their problem.
Well, understanding what they're actually going through, and to be honest, a lot of people just want to vent. They just want to say, look, this is what's going on. So I give them that. That may change soon in the new year because work's coming up, and it's becoming a little bit busier. I may have to consider if I give 30 minutes or not, or lessen it, or start charging for it. But you can actually book online, so you don't have to call. All my prices are there. There's no hidden secrets. No hidden recipes. You can see everything. And then they can just contact me. But basically, the whole thing of the audience out there is just to understand that if you're going through something where it's legal, give me a call.
Okay. Social media?
My social media, I'm on Instagram, that's SMG Mediation. I'm on Facebook, the same. Everything's the same. SMG.
Well, Selina, I want to say thank you very much for coming in today and enlightening me and enlightening my listeners, or our listeners, of how they can resolve problems. Because, there's so many people with problems these days, and with somebody like you,
we can get through it together.
Exactly, the burden. Well, they say a problem shared is a problem halved.
Oh, that is exactly that. With me, I eradicate it.
Right,
I want to go the extra mile.
There you go. So listen, guys, that's it from me for now.
Oh, that's fab.